So now I'm speaking, which to me, in my mind, is like, how the heck did I end up here? It is, I'm very thankful to be able to speak to you guys today. It's funny because coming out of school this last year, I never would have thought that I'd be working with high schoolers, because I said for the longest time, high schoolers, you know, I mean, beyond the point of it. I mean, I had zero tolerance for high schoolers probably my first 3 years of college, and still a little bit now. But honestly, your kids are such a blessing, and I love working with all of them. They're so fun to hang out with, and it's funny because they remind me a lot of when I was in youth group. You literally have the same type of people, just like same personalities and everything, just in one group. So I think it's funny, but I'm very thankful, and it's been a challenge, but it's also been a blessing in the same regard. So I thank you for the opportunity, and then for the opportunity to speak up here. I mean, I resonate with what Chauncey said with the bologna sandwiches. I feel like I should be in the queue eating bologna sandwiches instead of up here speaking. So I'm very thankful for that. But today, what I want to talk about is patience, which right now, if you guys know anyone who works with youth, give them a round of applause because they have a lot of patience. Not me, I'm talking about people who've been doing it for years, because, I mean, that's what I'm working on right now. But I'm not really talking about the patience of, like, you know, like being patient with everybody. It's more of like patience with ourselves and whatnot. So, by show of hands, who likes being patient? Like, nobody? Alright, that's what I'm talking about, because I don't need to. Like, when I get driving sometimes, I get very impatient. And, I mean, I'm from northern Minnesota, so I mean, there's so much road that you can just pass people. But here you got like 50 cars that you have to go around. And, yeah, I'm not good at patience. But, so what I wanted to do is first define patience. Like, what's the definition of patience? So when I looked up in the dictionary, it kind of fit exactly kind of what I was thinking. It says, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Now, that's a pretty good dang definition, because, I mean, getting angry or upset, that's so hard to control sometimes when we're trying to be patient. But what I want to talk about before I talk about patience is growth. So one thing that I've always loved about since I've come here is you guys are all great people at seeking God and seeking growing in your faith and just pursuing God. I know that maybe everyone hasn't been a Christian for years or like 30 plus years. You know, some people are there, some people have only been a Christian for a year or two. But I love that we've been pursuing God and seeking God in that regard. And it even says in the Bible, in Proverbs 8:17, it says, I love those who love me, and those who diligently seek me will find me. And then also in 1 Chronicles 16:11, it says, seek the Lord and His strength, seek His face continually. And I feel like we've been doing a good job of seeking the Lord and growing in the same regard, you know. And it's funny because I play basketball, and if you couldn't tell, I like basketball. My Bible's made out of basketball. And I've been competitive for a really, really long time. I'm sure Nikki and Shadow and Jetta and all the people from my youth group can attest. I'm a very competitive person, and I don't like losing. I'm sure at youth group, after youth group back home, we would go to the park and play basketball afterwards. And the games didn't get finished a lot of times because usually there's a fist fight, which is funny because like we're at youth group and then we start fighting over basketball just after we heard the message. But that also kind of helped remind me, you know, I need to have patience with these young ones because they're still growing. But sometimes for me, I love growth. I like seeing people get better, and getting better is one thing that I've always loved to pursue. And sometimes like I'll get like over the top with it. Like I just want to you know, grow so fast and like hit the next level the next day. And a lot of times, like when say I'll stumble and I'll fall in like my sin or whatnot, I'll get really discouraged because I'm trying to pursue this. I'm supposed to be getting better. This isn't supposed to be happening. I'm not supposed to be falling. Like that's what the thoughts that start to run through my mind is that I'm growing, I'm getting better. So why am I still stumbling? You know, instead of just being discouraged a little bit, like, oh, I sinned again, or like, I need to repent and whatnot, I will get down on myself, like, to the point of like, why are you trying? And like, discourage myself from then trying to grow some more. Which, you know, I mean, it's good that we want to get better, and we're supposed to be pursuing it. But, you know, whatever, we all fall short of the glory of God. I mean, we can all quote that. We all know that. But we need the patience as well to help grow. So what I mean by that, I'll go into that to a little bit of detail. Is a lot of times I feel like, or in my mind, or in a lot of people's minds, we feel like we can achieve holiness, like we'll achieve perfect holiness tomorrow. We'll achieve perfect holiness in a couple weeks. I'm messed up right here, right now, but like a couple weeks or like a month, I'll be right back on track, and I'll be going up again. And in reality, that's how it happens. I'm reading a book, and Chauncey read this book too. It's called The Slight Edge. And a quote in there, it said, "No CEOs of a major company have ever won the lottery." Now, people who win the lottery, that's an overnight thing. That they got $1 million overnight. But like the people who are like successful for a long time and continue to make money, they've never won the lottery. They've consistently worked and built and tried to get better and saved and worked out a process, you know. So that's kind of where patience comes into this. You know, we all are a work in progress. We are all in the process of growing to holiness into heaven. When we get to heaven, we're going to be made holy and made perfect. There won't be sin in heaven, you know. But that's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day. And I'm realizing that more and more as I get older. When I was younger, I thought, you know, oh, you put more time in, it'll happen way quicker. And you know, in some things, that's very true. And in our faith, that's true. We're going to get better. We're going to grow. We're going to see that constant build. But you got to let time take its place. And you got to let God do His work in you. It's not going to come from what we're doing. It's not going to come, it does come from what we're doing. We obviously have to put in the time. But God is going to grow each one of us at a different rate and a different pace and at different times. You know, He's going to use different things in our lives depending on whether we're seeking to follow Him or not seeking to follow Him, you know. He's always going to be interjecting in certain places that we don't know. I don't know half the time. I didn't know I was going to be a youth pastor coming after this, which is funny because everyone at my church is a youth pastor, and I said, nope, I'll never be one. This summer I ended up being a youth pastor. Like, that wasn't my plan, but you know, He's continually using these things to help us grow us. And so, like, the thing I want to use is object of time, you know. I've only been, like, a Christian for however long. I mean, I really started taking my faith seriously when I was probably about 16. You know, I grew up in a Christian family. I went to church every day and everything, but I didn't really start, like, Jesus was on the back burner for me, you know. It was just, like, something that was a fact about me, like, basically, like, my favorite color is red. That's kind of, like, what my faith was to me. And then when I was 16, I finally realized, like, what God had done for me, the paying for my sins so that I can go to heaven. And that became real to me. It didn't just become a fact that I know, because I knew that. Like, there's a lot of people I talk to. I have a lot of coworkers who aren't Christians, but they can quote that Jesus died on the cross for their sins. But that doesn't mean they believe it and know it to be true. So, for me, you know, I have basically been pursuing my faith actively for, I'd say, like 5-6 years. Now, I know there's people in here who've been pursuing a lot longer than that. I know my grandma's just turned 90, like this last week, and they had her birthday yesterday. And she's been in the church since she was little. Like, she's put in a lot longer process, and she'll still tell me to this day, like, I'm not perfect. Grandma, you've been a Christian for like 70 years. Like, how are you not there yet? Like, I mean, to me, it's like, she's put in so much, and like, she's continually seeked the Lord and guided us and been there for us. And, you know, she even in her mind is like, she still understands that, you know, I'm not going to be made holy until I get to heaven. So, you know, some people have been at this longer than others. And a lot of things when I was growing up, I'd always watch like the people in our church and see that they could like raise their hands during worship or like not care what anyone around them thinks. They've spent more time pursuing God and growing. I was frustrated because I was like, why can't I be there? You know, I love God. I really love God. I want to pursue God. So why can't I just automatically do that and have no worries or nothing? I can just focus up on what God is telling me, you know? And I just keep being brought back to patience. We're all gonna grow if we are we gotta remember number one. We have to seek God first and pursue Him. That's number one. If we don't do that, growth can't really happen, because if I just go through things casually, like if I say, oh, I want to be a professional dancer, you know, in the future, but all I do is like moonwalk around, like if I just do a moonwalk every day, I'm not going to become a professional dancer. Like it's not going to work out. I can't just do one dance move a day and just be like, okay, I'm gonna go watch some Netflix or go eat some Cheetos or something like that. It doesn't work that way. We all have to put in the time and be diligent about seeking God, but understand it's going to be, you have to be patient about your process. And it's funny because there's a team in the NBA right now that their logo is Trust the Process, because they have a bunch of dudes that are like younger and they've been injured a bunch, but now they're finally starting to bring the team together. I'm sorry I bring everything back to basketball. I don't know why. Like, I spend way too much time on that sometimes. But, so we have to be patient in the process and trust God to grow us, each at our own pace. And one verse that I really, really love is James 1:2-4. Now, I heard you guys are working on James in that Bible study next, and I'm jealous because James is by far my favorite book. I've probably read James like 4 or 5 times through, and I have it like all highlighted because I love it so much. But James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." So, I mean, if that doesn't sum it up right there on having to be patient and trusting in that, you know, our faith is going to be tested. There's going to be highs and lows in our life. We're going to be put to the test, you know, by the people around us all the time. Like, there's times where it could be daily where you can be put to the test, you know, and there's going to be seasons where you feel on the mountaintop, seasons where you feel in the valley. But that's going to produce perseverance. That's when we almost need to be seeking God more, and even at the mountaintop too, because by the time we get back down to that valley, we're going to need more and more perseverance, because sometimes it gets harder and harder every time, and other times it'll be easier because you're producing more of that. You're seeking God, you're growing, you're learning more. But we have to be patient through that perseverance. This last year, for me, was probably one of the hardest in terms of like my faith and testing my faith, because the things for me at like school and like basketball didn't go the way I wanted them to go. I've been playing basketball at Northwestern for 3 years. I'll be my senior year this year, and I didn't play at all the first 2 years, which to me was okay because we had a lot of older guys, and like I was like, okay, I'll be up next to play this year, so I'll be playing, busting my butt all off season. I put in the work. I tried to work harder than anyone else that was out there, and again this year I was stuck not playing again. And so for me, I had to check myself. I had to check my character. It's like, okay, am I going to whine and complain and not try to show, you know, God's love to these people and still work hard and still play for God, or am I going to play for myself in this? And it was a harsh decision I had to make, was saying, okay, this is not going to be what I want this year. I'm not going to get to play. But if I just sit and whine and complain, what does that say about my witness to the people around me? What if someone's watching and what I'm about to do, and they're going to see my character? What's that going to say about me? And so that, for me, I had to put my own desires aside and say, you know what? I want to pursue you, God, right now, and you're going to have to carry me. And honestly, I don't remember half the season, because every day I'd have to pray, Lord, give me strength to not like blow up on somebody, because, you know, like people would be slacking off and they're playing and I'm working hard and I'm not playing. There's a lot of times you want to like get after them. Like, what are you doing? And just lose it all together. So I honestly, if you want to play by play on how I did it, I don't know. Because literally just like every day, I just had to pray, give me strength, give me perseverance through this tough time. And I had to be patient, which sucks because I hate patience so much. It's awful. But it's what we're called to do. And if we're not patient in growing in our faith, we're going to get discouraged a lot more than we're going to grow. You know, the patience is so important. And it's a virtue, and like I've said many times, the guy at the cross, it's not a fun virtue. But it kind of brings me back to this song that I heard recently, and I'm still bringing up a quote somehow. I'm not even doing announcements right now. But it says, holiness comes before happiness. Now, we hear that like, oh, what? I want to be happy. I want to be happy, you know, like, I don't care what happens in life, I just want to be happy. If you put holiness first, happiness will follow. Holiness comes first, happiness will follow right behind it. Because if you're seeking holiness and you're seeking God, happiness will come from it. I can guarantee that. Because you'll have way more peace and way more joy in anything than going off and seeking happiness in the world. I can guarantee you that. So when I heard that, I even caught myself because I was like, holiness before happiness, what? Like, how's that work? But then as soon as I thought about it, I'm like, you know, that's probably the most true thing I've ever heard. And it's one thing that definitely I'm going to start trying to put into my evangelism with people, is like speaking to people's lives, like, happiness will follow holiness. You gotta seek holiness and how happiness will come. I'm sure there's many people who can testify to that. There's a reason why people have joy that is unbreakable when they're following Jesus, because they're seeking holiness than just seeking happiness in the desires of this world. There's temporary happiness. You can seek a bunch of temporary happiness, but in the end, it's gonna turn back into discouragement, and you're not gonna be happy anymore. Instead of having eternal happiness and eternal joy. So, I'm getting a little long-winded here, but in closing with this, I just have 3 points that I want to main out, which to me, sorry, I sometimes sound like a PowerPoint speaker, like these are the key points at the end of the speech. But so I just want to leave you with 3 things. We need to be seeking the Lord. That's got to come number 1. We got to be pursuing God and pursuing growth in our own lives and in our faith, and getting to the next, you know, getting closer and closer to God. Like, it excites me how close we're gonna get to God once we like get to heaven, because it's just gonna be like we're gonna get to see Him. Like, nobody here's seen Him, and now all debate goes aside because we're gonna see Him finally. So like that kind of excites me. But 1, we need to be seeking the Lord and seeking to grow in our faith. But 2, I want to encourage you to be patient in the process of growing. We a lot of times we want to grow and we want this overnight, you know, next level. Overnight, I'm on the next level. It's not going to happen that way. Progress is a staircase. It's not a straight line. There's going to be times where we're going to grow. We're on this new level. Like, we're closer to God. It's going to be like that for a little while now. It's not just going to be tomorrow I'm going to be up here. It's going to be like this for a little while. But then you're going to see another jump and you're going to be closer to God. So progress and patience is a staircase, not a straight line. So I want to encourage you to be patient with growing in the process. And then thirdly, just like James said, there we go. All right, just like in James, it says, let God finish His work in you at His pace, so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. Let God do His work in you. That's where trust comes in. Patience and trust, you kind of almost have to put them hand in hand when you're trying to grow in your faith, and you're growing as a person. So if you don't trust that this is going to lead to growth and getting better, you're basically just going to go through the motions then. You're not going to diligently seek. It says diligently seek the Lord. So let God finish His work in you at His pace. Obviously, we're going to mess up. We're going to fall. We're going to stumble. We are imperfect human beings, and we sin. Sin is in this world, and it's present in all of our lives. We sin daily a lot of times. We probably will sin within 5 minutes of getting out of church. That's the crazy thing. But you need to be patient in letting God work through you in that, and not get completely down on yourself where it's like, I'm never going to make it. If we're seeking the Lord diligently and we're being patient with what He's doing in our lives, He'll grow you. And you might not see it tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, but down the road you will look back and you'll say, God has done work in me, and you'll see the growth. The growth doesn't come when you're looking forward. When you look back on everything, you see, wow, I did all that, and God grew me in that. So